It's a sweltering summer night outside. The room is so hot that even the fan is just circulating the hot air. You're sweating. The bed sheet is sticking to your skin. But you still reach for that thin blanket, that single layer of fabric. You know, if you don't pull it over you, you'll never be able to sleep. Even if just one of your toes is sticking out, you feel uneasy, as if something were watching you from the darkness. Your logic tells you, it's 30 degrees outside. You don't need that. But your body whispers, if you don't put that blanket on, you're vulnerable. Imagine this. Why would a modern person have such a vital need for a 300-gram piece of cotton fabric in a bedroom behind completely secure, locked doors? Is this just a habit or an ancient cry echoing from the depths of your mind? Today, we'll uncover the mystery behind why you can't sleep without pulling that blanket over you, and discover that it's actually a primitive form of armor your brain provides you with. Most people confuse this with feeling cold, or brush it off by saying, it's just a habit, a quirk from childhood. In fact, some might even think of it as a type of anxiety disorder, or oddity. But no, it's not your fault. If you can't fall asleep without that blanket, it doesn't mean you're strange or weak. On the contrary, this is proof of just how sharp and active your survival instincts are. Even though modern society tells us that everything is under control, our brains are still calculating the risks of the wild world from 10,000 years ago. That thin blanket isn't really there to keep you warm. It's there to make you invisible and create a sense of armor. Let's go back to the world of primitive man, to the cave age. For our ancestors, sleep was the most dangerous time of the day. Consciousness is impaired. Reflexes are slowed. Muscle tone is reduced. In other words, a sitting duck for predators. Sleeping completely naked and defenseless in the wild was like saying, "Come and get me." The amygdala, the primary center of the primitive brain, scans for even the slightest sound in the environment, even during sleep. This is where tactile stimulation comes into play. During the cave age, our ancestors would curl up in the thickets to hide from wild animals, covering themselves with leaves or animal skins. This act of covering up was not merely about preserving body heat. It was a concealment strategy. Being under a covering obscures your silhouette and blends you into your surroundings. When the modern brain touches that delicate tip, it begins to release serotonin and oxytocin. Why? Because that gentle pressure on your skin sends this signal to your brain. You're inside a cocoon right now. In science, we call this deep pressure stimulation. When the brain senses the weight of the blanket, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. So that veil is actually your social and biological shield. During the course of evolution, those who covered themselves while sleeping were less likely to be noticed than those who did not, and thus survived. You too are a descendant of those survivors. Your brain is still searching for that tiger in your room, and the blanket is your only line of defense against it. Type 1, cocoon builder. You don't just pull the blanket over yourself, you tuck it under your feet and tuck the edges under your body. You like to be like a completely sealed package. Evolutionarily speaking, this is the total encirclement instinct. Type 2, strategic observer. No matter how hot it gets, you cover most of your body but leave one leg or one arm exposed. This is your thermal radar and escape hatch. Type 3, weight seeker. An ordinary blanket just won't cut it. You want it to be heavy and to press down on your body. This type represents the instinct for a womb-like or close-knit tribal bond. The truly striking thing is this. The modern world has taught us to be rational. Logic tells you, this thin sheet won't protect you from a thief or a natural disaster. But that 10,000-year-old wise part of your brain doesn't operate on logic. It operates on feelings. That need you feel for that blanket is actually your way of showing compassion to that fragile, vulnerable inner child within you. Sometimes life feels overwhelming, uncertainties mount, and work stress or relationship issues take their toll on us. It's no coincidence that you cling to that blanket more tightly on those nights. When the world wears you down, your primal brain calls you back to your oldest and safest refuge. A pike is that silent agreement you make with the outside world. I'm here, I'm safe, and no one can touch me right now. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't ask yourself, why am I doing this in this heat? Just take a deep breath and enjoy this free bodyguard service your brain is offering you. So which type are you? A cocoon architect, a strategic observer, or a weight seeker who loves those heavy blankets? Or maybe you have a bedtime routine that you find different, or even strange? Share your thoughts in the comments, because what you call strangeness might actually be a superpower that dates back thousands of years. Remember, on this channel, we don't just talk about psychology, we explore our roots. Subscribe and join us, because the brain doesn't make mistakes, it's just trying to survive.